You know that feeling, right? That ache in your chest when you think about a past decision, a chance you didn't take, or something you wish you could take back? That's regret. And man, it can be one of the heaviest things we carry. But what if you could actually build a life with less of it? Well, let's dive into a practical guide on how to do exactly that.
Just listen to those two words for a second. If only. They just kind of hang in the air, don't they? So heavy with the weight of what could have been.
You know, these words are all about a past that we just can't change. And look, we've all felt that sting. But the good news is, we can actually understand where this feeling comes from. And, this is the important part, we can start making choices right now to feel it a whole lot less in the future. So what is regret really? When you boil it all down, it's just a painful comparison. We take the reality of something that already happened, something we can't change, and we hold it up against this perfect, shiny fantasy of how things should have gone. We get stuck playing this movie in our heads that never even existed, and then we feel awful that our real life doesn't measure up. Okay, so the best and most powerful way to deal with regret is to prevent it from happening in the first place. So we're going to walk through 10 key life choices that can help you live a much more intentional life. And to make it super easy, we've broken them down into 3 big themes.
First up, let's talk about living authentically. This is huge because so much regret comes from not being true to who you really are. I mean, think about it. How much energy do we waste wearing a mask just to get people to like us, or letting society or our parents or whoever write the script for our own lives? A massive source of regret down the line is settling. Settling for a job you hate or a relationship that doesn't value you. So the big idea here is simple. Own your path and know your worth.
All right, moving on to our second theme. Take action and embrace growth. You know, it's funny. Some of the biggest regrets people have are about the things they didn't do. We shy away from change because it feels scary. We give up way too easily when things get hard. We keep telling ourselves we'll start tomorrow, a tomorrow that never seems to come. This is all about choosing to act, even if it's just a small step. Progress isn't about these giant leaps. It's about being consistent instead of wishy-washy. You know what they say? It's better to have a backbone than a wishbone. And that brings us to our final theme, which is all about perspective and connection. This covers a few things. First, your circle matters. Don't surround yourself with negative people. It's just going to drag you down. Second, try not to be completely selfish. A life that's only about me often ends up feeling pretty empty and full of regret. And third, this one's a biggie. Stop trying to micromanage everything. You're supposed to touch life, not strangle it. Learning to let go of that need for control is a total game changer for your peace of mind.
Okay, so making those choices is an awesome strategy for the future. But what about the regrets we're already carrying? You know, the ones that are weighing us down right now? If we know logically that we can't change the past, why on earth is it so hard to just let it go? This is where things get really interesting.
The reason we get so stuck comes down to this idea called personal identification. See, we all have this mental blueprint of our ideal self. In this perfect version of us, we're always smart, we always mean well, and we always make the right decision. We're basically the hero of our own story. And this right here shows you the problem perfectly. Regret is that painful clash between our ideal self and the messy reality of our past actions, our mistakes, our flaws, our blunders. So when we mess up, it feels like a personal failure, like we let down the hero we're supposed to be. And that's when we start beating ourselves up, thinking, how could I have been so stupid? And that's why it's so hard to let go. Just understanding that conflict is a huge first step. But knowing why we're stuck isn't enough, right? So now let's get into the practical, actionable stuff you can do to actually resolve it and finally move on. This is how you make it work. So here's the absolute key. We have to let go of the fantasy that we're supposed to be perfect. It's just not true. The reality is, we're human, we're complicated, we do great things, and we make dumb mistakes. We can be generous, and sometimes we can be selfish. The moment we accept our own messy, imperfect, wonderful humanness, our past doesn't feel like such a painful failure anymore. So here's a little tool, a 3-step practice you can use anytime you feel that sting of regret coming on. First, just acknowledge it. Just say to yourself, there it is. I'm doing that regret thing again. Second, realize what's actually happening, that you're comparing your real life to some fantasy. And finally, you practice. You consciously practice letting go of that perfect ideal and just bring your attention back to right here, right now. And all of this brings us to the most important point of all. We've talked about the past, we've talked about the future, but the only place we have any real power is right now. The true starting point for a life with less regret isn't yesterday or tomorrow. It's today.
Wow. That quote kind of puts it all in perspective, doesn't it? One day, every single one of us is going to look back. We're going to think about the moments that made us, the choices that really mattered. We're going to be thinking about the beginning.
And the simple, incredibly powerful truth is that today is that beginning. Right now, this very moment. The past is done, the future hasn't happened. All you have, all any of us have, is the very next choice we make.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Forget about some giant 10-year plan for a second. Let's make it small, simple, and real. What is one thing, just one, that you can choose to do today that you know your future self will look back and thank you for? Think about it, and then go do it.